Good morning from Moda Miami. This is the first day and we are here at the Biltmore in Coral Gables, and we have almost every variant of Countach here. One of the 19 F40 LM, for post-war cars, and then obviously the hypercars. What's up, guys? Good morning from Moda Miami. We are very excited to share with you guys a curated class. This is the 50 years of Countach production, and we have almost every variant here and a few more variants coming. I think there's about 15 cars in the class. The one car we are missing from this grouping would be a Periscopio, a 75 car, 76 car. But we will start with the low body. So LP400 S, low body car. This is actually a Series 2 car. So between 79 and 1980, I think a few cars were produced in 81. What you can tell about this from a Series 1, and I always talk about this, the LP400 S low body has the lower roof. If you look at the wheels, they're inside the car. And it's different suspension, which is very, very cool. The doors lower, the car just sits. It looks like it's been lowered. There's actually going to be, I believe, one other silver low body in the class. We've got the famous twin turbo, which we'll talk about, another Series 2 low body. These cars are so cool. The one difference between a Series 1 and Series 2 for Countach nerds is the Series 1 car would have the Bravo wheels. These wheels are actually wrong. We can talk about that. But the wheels evolved over time. The Bravo wheels look like a telephone dial, and those were on the first Series 1 cars, I believe 50 cars. And a few of those cars, very early cars, actually had different gauges from the early LP400 cars. So LP400S, now once LP400S production was wrapping up, the Mimran brothers bought Lamborghini. Then you have the LP400S Series 3. Now we don't have, I don't believe we have one here today. LP400S Series 3, almost identical to the early low bodies. Series 3, they actually raised the roof. And then on the early low bodies, most of the dashes were the mouse hair Alcantara, and a lot of the Series 3 cars came with the leather, full leather dash. Here we have the 5000S, first introduced in 1982, the 5-liter engine in the Countach. Little bit of a horsepower bump, nothing crazy. You can actually see the car sits higher. This is an incredible example in a very, very rare color. I believe this car is an 83. This car was fully restored in Italy, but you can see quickly the front is higher, the roof is raised, and then the door panels sort of a little bit more plush. The interior is a little bit more plush, leather everywhere. And you can see this is a clean European spec 5000S. Now, 5000S produced between 1982 and 1985, the last cars, and in 1985, the Quattro Valvole was introduced. And if we go back here now, we've got a few Quattro Valvoles in the class. I believe we have a yellow car arriving. There's a car that was restored to a dark green that will be arriving as well. And right behind this white car here is a stunning, I believe it's an 86 Quattro Valvole. Quattro Valvole stands for 4-valve. So the Countach horsepower was bumped up from about 385 horsepower to 450 or 475 horsepower, depending upon the type of, and we'll talk about that, either injection or carbureted cars. But this then is the next evolution of the Quattro Valvole, which has the side skirts. Those would have been introduced in 1988 and a half, so that summer production would have these side skirts. We've got a very cool interview coming with Orazio Pagani soon, which we talk about sort of the use of the carbon Kevlar. These hoods were carbon Kevlar, and you can see they call this the Power Dome. The Quattro Valvole carbureted engine would be the highest horsepower of all the Lamborghini Countach's, 475 horsepower plus. These cars are very, very fast, very cool. And then the evolution from 1988 and a half, you have then right behind us, the Countach 25th Anniversario. Now, the US never got carbureted cars. This is a European car, a downdraft car, and you can see how different the body is. This is all penned by Horacio Pagani. So you have the scoops here. You have the fender flares that are molded to the car. You have the arrow in the front of the car. The seats were different on the Anniversary. The door panels were different. These actually had electric windows. I think we have a car here that actually had factory race seats, so that was an option as well. But you can see the wheels are different. The same manufacturer, the Root OZ wheels from the earlier wheel, but they were much different. And in the Anniversary, you have power seats as well was an option. And then between 88 and a half and the Anniversary, you also had the updated sort of digital AC system. So we are very excited today. We have all of these variants. It's so cool to see them all together, see them honored at a major concours event. It is so spectacular. We're gonna see a mixture of colors throughout the field. So stay tuned. We have a ton more insane cars here. So this is the second day of Moda Miami, and as you guys can see behind us, this is part of the 100 Club. This is supposed to be 100 of the greatest supercars and hypercars, but honestly, this is way more than 100 cars. You got the SP Project, one of the one-off Ferraris, a speed yellow Carrera GT, absolutely insane. I think that's the new Pininfarina. That you've got the Hennessy car there, absolutely stunning. Some really great PTS cars here. Some really incredible cars today in the 100 Club, and you can just see the excitement around all the cars here. Mercy manual, local client, bunch of Carrera GTs. Really good looking matte black Pista, and it is a cool bunch of cars. SLR, Ford GTX-1, the Aston Martin Valor. If I had to buy a new car and I had a ton of money and wasn't worried about depreciation, I think that would be it for me. V12 manual. You've got a McLaren Elva with a windshield. This is insane. You can see the love for these cars, the excitement the young generation has for these cars. So look at this car here, 250 short wheelbase. It is absolutely stunning. What I love about this car is you can see it's got some great patina to it. Love that. These cars are only original ones, so to see something like that is incredible. 275 GTB, we've got incredible row of Ferraris. This Daytona Spider in yellow is stunning, and the colors work so well. Very cute. They've got a banana on the windshield. Love that. 275, I think that's a 4-cam car. You've got a 330 GTC. And then down here, an incredible class of some race-inspired Ferraris. You got 599XX, 812 Comp, 348 Speciale. You've got F50 Enzo, Flying Mirror Testarossa, 512M, 355 Challenge, 16M Challenge Stradale, and yes, one of the 19 F40 LM. Doesn't get cooler than that. You have some serious cars. We have to talk about the Aston Martin Bulldog. We were actually showing with this car in this class at Pebble Beach in the concept wedge class. This is a very cool class of just interesting pieces. And that's sort of the fun part about Moda. That is beautiful. I don't know what that is, but that is the whole I would say, vibe here and energy here. There's just such an eclectic mix of unique cars. That is a Bertone-styled Aston Martin DB2/4. You're not gonna see this next to a Senna. I don't think you're gonna see that at any show in the world. So very, very cool, the juxtapose of cars. There's also something very cool here. Jump in, Sergio. This was probably one of my favorite cars from yesterday. So if you ever remember back in the day in the 80s, there was all these cool sort of crazy Miami Vice James Bond gadgets, and the gentleman that owns this car is the legend that created all of those. And here he is, Barry Smith from Ultra Smith. How are you, brother? How is everything? Nice seeing you. Sunderwash, did I pronounce that right?
Sunderwash.
Sunderwash, car that basically came out of Porsche in 1984. A ton of unique features, but I think we gotta show you guys some of the things that Barry did. Again, a legend in the automotive world, but you have to see some of the tricks and toys that he installed in this car in the 1980s.
So basically, I was from Manhattan. I used to, first of all, beautify the cars, polished rims. I put European side markers and European headlights on the cars and different features. But inside, we really made the car like almost like a private jet, and I'll show you inside. This car was done in 1984, and this was really ahead of its time. We did for New York City a toll booth window. We invented this, a one-touch window that's now like standard on almost every car.
Wow.
We found a way to build a special secret compartment in the cars. And then if you go behind the car, people didn't like when people gave them the bright lights. So we would make a zap light for the car so that you could zap someone back. And if you point at their license plate. So these are the kind of things we would do in Manhattan, and people just loved it, and we did it with factory presentation.
I love it. This is what it's all about.
The fact that you love it, I like it.
And you know what? Provenance, listen, I think that's what's so cool about this event is you have stories like this. We've got some other great stories over there. A gentleman that's owned a few cars since the 1960s. And that's the whole passion of the car community. So, thank you.
John, always great to see you. All right?
Great
Keep
seeing
up the
you.
great work,
Thank
John.
you, man. Thank you.
All right.
So you could say that this lineup of cars from the Mercedes-Benz Museum really is the highlight, ending with this car here of the weekend. You have the modern day version of the SLR Sterling Moss that was built to honor this original car here. And if you know anything about this car, it's considered one of the greatest sports car and racing cars of our time. Famously, Sterling Moss, well, we've talked about this, I think, before. Famously, Sterling Moss in 1955 raced the other example of the 300 SLR, and that was the famous car with the 722 on the side. And the reason there was a 722 is that's actually the time that when he started, that was his time, and that was the number given to the car. This car is a number one. It's not the same car. I believe there's actually 2 cars or maybe 3 cars for the world. Recently, the coupe version of this, I would say based on the W196 chassis, the Uhlenhaut coupe, I might have pronounced that wrong. You can write in the comments. That sold for about $130 or $132 million. This is part of the museum collection. This will probably never be sold. But then again, never say never. And Mercedes, I think today, believes this could be worth as much as $200 million. So to have this car here out of the Mercedes Museum is completely insane. And to have it paired with the car that it then, sort of the modern day version, is just so cool. So again, that's what's so great about Moda. You have this great juxtapose of old and new.
This is the 50 years of the Countach, and it's the Mercedes-Benz car.
Sounds really, what do you guys think? Does it sound cool? You like this car? What's your favorite, Ferrari or Lamborghini? Lamborghini, you heard it here. Lamborghini Countach the 50th anniversary of production, which is super cool to have all these cars here. What an incredible weekend. I think this event has a massive future. The juxtapose of hypercars and pre-war cars is spectacular for the community. Thank you guys again for watching, supporting us. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe.